Everyone says that your 20s are meant to be like the best years of your life, and I personally disagree with that. Your 20s are your building years, not your enjoyment years. This is actually the period when you're laying the foundation for the next 30, 40, 50 years of your life. Every habit you build, every person you choose, every risk you refuse to take, or every opportunity you ignore will start to shape the person that you become eventually. And what's scary about this is you actually don't notice the consequences until years later. People tend to think that they have endless time or opportunity to do things. I will save money later, I will lose that weight later, I will get healthier later, I will go back to school, I will save, I will invest or do whatever it is. And before you know it, you're 35 or 40, wondering where all that time went to. I need you to think of life as though you're building a house. Your childhood is when the foundation was laid. Your 20s and 30s is when you actually build the house. And then your 40s and your 50s is when you roof the house. If you fail to do anything at the right time, it will certainly affect the next decade of your life. So here are the 10 things I genuinely believe will change the way you see life and will give you an advantage as well. The first thing is let go of friendships that no longer serve you. This one might not be easy because we tend to confuse history with loyalty. So if you've been friends with someone for like 20 years, you think that means that, they are very good to me, or that means we have to stay friends. But that is actually not always the case. The fact that you've known someone for 10 years does not mean that they need to stay in your life forever. People change. Sometimes they grow, sometimes they stay the same, and other times they pull you back. Not every friendship ends because someone is evil. Sometimes the thing is your values no longer align. Your values don't align, your goals don't align, your personalities don't align. And sometimes the problem is that person does not want to grow. They are comfortable staying where they are. The older you get, you come to realize that sometimes friendship actually survive because of convenience. You went to the same school, or you stay in the same environment, or you work together, or even the fact that you guys live in the same neighborhood. And once any of those circumstances disappear, you realize there wasn't much holding you guys together. It was just a friendship of convenience. Pay attention to how your friends make you feel. Do they encourage you? Do they celebrate your success? Are they the type to mock your dreams or even pressure you to make bad decisions? When you spend time with them, how do you feel? Do they fill you up or do they drain you? Your environment and the friends you keep around you shapes your life more than you think. If your friends are the type to normalize mediocrity, before you know what, you fall into that loop as well. You start to normalize mediocrity just like them. Whenever we're talking about moving up in your 20s, sometimes that actually means being comfortable being alone until you find the right company. There's actually no need for you to drain yourself with the wrong people. It's okay to stay alone until you find your own tribe. If you have friends that make fun of your dreams or ambitions under the cloak of, I was just joking, or people that make jabs at your ambition or the dream life they're pursuing, your cut-off game needs to be strong. You might not notice at first, but what they're doing is sowing seeds of doubt into your heart. And they're also replacing your inner voice with their own voice. So the next time you want to do something or go for something, the first thing you hear is their voice in your head telling you this is impossible, you can't do it, or making fun of you or discouraging you. So the people you keep around you and the voices that you hear all the time matters a lot. Number 2 is have a career and make your own money. One of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself is financial independence. I know that we like to say that money is not everything, and that is right, but a lack of money can actually affect every single thing in your life. It affects where you live, who you depend on, the kind of opportunities you take or fail to take. Lack of money can also affect your relationship or the people that you tolerate because you have no choice. And more importantly, money affects your confidence. When you make your own money, you have options. Money gives you options. Why most of us as children couldn't wait to grow up and become adults is because of the freedom. We wanted the freedom to do whatever we want. But what people fail to realize is that what gives you freedom is actually money, not just the fact that you're an adult. You can be an adult and live like a child if you have no money. Absolutely. A grown person with no money will still live like a child. If you give up your financial independence, you have no choice than to stay like in abusive situations because you have no choice. You have no choice than to stay because someone else is paying your bills, and that is the only way you survive. Lack of money will send you into a panic anytime an emergency happens or anytime a situation calls for money. You are going to panic as well because now you have to put yourself at the mercy of another person in order to receive that money. Every lady needs to have a job or skills that allows her to earn an income. Invest in learning, get excellent at something, have multiple sources of income if you can. Don't only depend on one job or only on one source of income. Always have something of value like a skill or something that people are willing to spend money in exchange for. As a woman, your goal is to never have to stay somewhere because you don't have the money to leave. Freedom is expensive and the currency is money. Always have money to buy your own freedom. On TikTok, you see this craze about young women giving up their financial independence to become trad wives, and they're almost romanticizing it. But the truth is, there's nothing romantic about having to depend on a man for every single need of yours. Trust me when I say that you don't want to see the true color of somebody when they know that you have no choice but to depend on them. Becoming a trad wife is crazy, but what's even crazier is becoming a trad girlfriend. What can a man say to you to convince you to give up your financial independence as a woman that is not even married to him just to depend on him? It makes no sense to me. Your 20s are your building and investment years. Why would you give it up for a man? I'm actually trying to imagine the kind of dreams that these men are selling to women in their 20s. And that thing is actually a nightmare disguised as a dream. It's not a dream life to have to depend on a man for every single need of yours. don't do it. Number 3 is leave your comfort zone. If there's one advice I'll give to every woman in their 20s, it's this: growth and comfort rarely exist in the same place. Everything you want out of life usually exists on the other side of comfort. Whether it's public speaking, starting a YouTube channel, applying for a job, starting a business, learning more, investing, saving, all these things are uncomfortable because they require effort on your own side. And that's exactly why most people don't do them, because it requires effort. The unfortunate thing is, if you don't take care, eventually your comfort zone will actually become a prison for you. One of the many reasons we tend to stay in our comfort zone is, instead of admitting that we're scared, we try to convince ourselves that we're only being realistic. The people you admire did not start out being confident. They only became confident because they kept doing the hard things or the uncomfortable things or the things that most people tend to avoid. Confidence is not a prerequisite, it's a reward. Confidence comes after you've done it, not before you've done it. In order to leave your comfort zone, you first of all need to build your confidence. How do you build confidence? Start by doing the hard things, or whenever you promise yourself to do something, go ahead and keep to that promise. Challenge yourself every month. Go ahead and apply for jobs that you're underqualified for, just for the sake of it. Learn a skill that is difficult. Leave your hometown. Yes, most people stay in their hometown because that is the familiar place for them, but you need to leave in order to discover yourself for who you truly are. Learn to network by talking to other people outside of your usual circle. Every single year of your 20s, you should strive to become better than you were the previous year. Don't get stuck doing the same thing year after year. Sometimes the reason why people don't like to leave their comfort zone or try new things is because of fear and shame, fear of what others will say, fear of failing. But for me, I think it's better to try and fail at something than to live the rest of your life wondering what would have become if you gave it a try out. And number 4, be strategic with your romantic relationships. When it comes to a relationship, love matters, but love alone is not enough. Unfortunately, relationship is where most people in their 20s tend to lose years. Chemistry is exciting, butterfly is exciting, but attraction alone cannot compensate for incompatibility. Most people spend their 20s dating people or even marrying people that waste their time. Whenever you meet someone new, you need to ask yourself, are your values aligned? Apart from the fact that you like this person, do your values actually align? What about your life goals? Do they match? Do you guys have the same goals for life? How does this person handle conflicts? How do they treat people beneath them? Are they financially responsible? Actually, do they make money? Yeah, because you need to make money to be financially responsible. So, do they make money? Do they make good money to sustain the kind of life that you're going for? Are they the type to take accountability? Are they confident? How do they view life and how do they treat life? Do they support your dreams? Do they support your dreams? Do they support your dreams? Or do they constantly compete with you? There's nothing worse than a partner who undermines your ambitions or someone who secretly acts like they're in a competition with you. If you guys don't align, eventually they will resent you, and if care is not taken, that resentment will turn vengeful. In your 20s, relationship, marriage, or long-term partnership will impact your life more than you imagine. It's actually one of the biggest decisions that you can make in your 20s. Who do you partner or who do you live life with? When it comes to a man, choose with your heart as much as your head. I know in your 20s you're a bit naive and you likely think that life is all sunshine and rainbows, but the older you get, the more you start to realize what an impact a partner makes in your life. A relationship can cause your dreams to skyrocket, but it can cause it to die forever. Don't ignore red flags simply because you like someone or because they are attractive. If you go to the prisons today, a lot of women are there because of a man that they partnered with. Yes, a lot of women in prisons today are actually in prison because of a man. The statistics is very high. Go check it out yourself. And a lot of women will unfortunately never get the happy ever after because of the man that they partnered up with. And of course, a lot of women will never achieve their ambitions or their life goals because of the man that they partnered up with. Again, like I said, choose with your heart as much as your head. Let both of them work together. You can like someone, but are they good for you? The next one is stop disappointing yourself. Every time you tell yourself, I'm going to start saving more, I'm going to start investing, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to read more, I'm going to stop doom scrolling, make sure you keep to that promise. Every time you promise yourself that you're going to start saving more, investing more, sleeping more, eating healthier, or even like exercising or losing weight, and you fail to do that, you're teaching yourself that your words mean nothing. Most people think that confidence is something that you're born with or something that you learn, but that is not true. Confidence is something that comes from you doing the hard work. And with confidence comes self-respect. Yes, self-respect will grow anytime you follow through with a promise. You need to stop disappointing yourself by keeping the promises that you make to yourself. How do you do this? Start by making a few promises to yourself and try to keep to each one of them. Let's say, for instance, you tell yourself, today I'm going to read 10 pages of a book. Make sure you read that 10 pages before the day ends. If you tell yourself, from next month, I'll start saving and investing, when the next month comes, make sure that you do exactly that. Let's say you want to start a YouTube channel and you tell yourself, I'm going to upload every Sunday. Make sure that by every Sunday, a video goes up. Self-trust and self-respect is aimed, and it's only gotten when you start keeping promises to yourself. If you can prove to yourself that when you say something, you actually follow through with it, your confidence and your self-respect will grow. Let's say, for instance, you want to achieve a goal. What will give you that confidence boost to go on is remembering that in the past, you kept to the words that you say. If you remember remember the things you did in the past because you kept to your words, it's actually easier for you to believe that you can achieve more in life. Number 6 is develop your own mind and learn to trust it. Your 20s is your first decade as an adult, and that is the time that you need to start training yourself to trust your instincts or your intuition. One of the most dangerous things you can do to yourself is to outsource your thinking or your way of reasoning to another person. Unfortunately, people are always willing to tell you what you should do. Social media will tell you what success looks like. People will tell you how to live your life, where to live, when to get married, what to study, what to do, what to eat, you know what I mean? It's a lot of things. People are always willing to think for you, but that is the last thing you want in your 20s when you're trying to train yourself to, trust your own gut instincts. Regardless of what people are saying to you, you need to ask yourself at some point, what do I actually want? What do I believe? What's my opinion about this particular thing? Everyone has an opinion about what I should do, but what do I actually want to do? Now, the question is, how do you train yourself to trust your own intuition or your own gut feelings? My advice is you need to start by reading books because books present different perspectives of the same thing to you. So when you read books, you also start to think critically, what do I actually think, based on what I know? Learn to spend time alone with your thoughts. If you don't decide who you are, people will decide that for you. Don't be surprised that a lot of opinions you hold on things or people is actually something that you heard, not something that you actually believe. You've heard that thing long enough that you just echo it back. You're simply repeating what you've heard over and over again. It's unfortunate that a lot of people are echo chambers. All they know is what they have been fed. They're just echoing back what they've heard all their life. If you fail to develop the skill of trusting yourself in your 20s, you will pay the price later on in life because a lot of decisions will come where you actually need your gut instincts to tell you what to do. And if you outsource that thinking to other people, they will mess up your life. Number 7 is stop letting other people define you. People will always put labels on you. You are too difficult, you are too ambitious, you laugh too much, you don't laugh at all, too masculine, too feminine, too soft, too hard. It's always going to be something. People will always put labels on you. Your work here is to make sure that they don't stick. You cannot afford to build your life around other people's opinion of you because unfortunately, people's opinion will always change. The same trait that someone admires in you is the same exact trait that someone else will hate. Your job is not to fit into everyone's expectation of you. Your job is simply to become the person that you want to be. Reject labels that limit you and choose your own identity intentionally. I'll give an example. Personally for me, there's this label that people have always tried to put on me, all my life, basically, even like from the time I was a child. People will always say you are too ambitious for a woman. Women don't have to be that ambitious. You have a husband to cater for you and all that. When I was a teenager, I used to have like outlandish dreams and people will always say like, do you know that you're a woman? What if your husband doesn't let you do that? Thank God I rejected that label because one thing about me is every single dream I've ever had, I have always gone for them. And I'm so happy that, I never let those labels to make me to kind of shrink myself or hide from people or hide from my own dreams. So I'm happy that I rejected that label of being overly ambitious because now that ambition is taking me places. If you examine your life closely, you might realize that there are labels that someone put on you at some point. Maybe it's a teacher, your parents, your friends, or anyone. They put a label on you and you're currently living under that label. I'll give you an example. Some people were told that they talk too much and because of that, they limit how they talk. So based on the label that someone put on you, you are now living your life opposite of who you are in order for that label to not stick. Instead of you accepting that this is who you are now shrinking yourself in order to please them. Some people think that they're not smart because at some point someone looked at you, maybe a teacher, and said you're not smart enough, don't go for that course. And that is why you didn't go to uni for your dream course because someone said that you're not smart enough. Labels have a way of sticking. Reject them right away and pave your own path. If care is not taken, you will live under the labels that people have put on you. I don't think I'm too ambitious. I think my ambition is a good thing. My ambition has taken me places, like I said. Number 8 is to leave situations that no longer serve you. Whenever we talk about leaving situations, our mind tends to go to relationship. But in this case, it's not just about relationship. I'm talking about friendship, group, or even communities that no longer serve you. Sometimes we stay in places that no longer serve us simply because we have invested so much. In my last video, I talked about sunken costs, right? Sunken cost is simply the time, effort, and money you have invested into something that you can never get back. So sometimes people stay at jobs, in relationship, in communities that no longer serve them simply because they have invested so much into those places. But the time, money, and effort you've already wasted should not force you to spend more time wasting even more. Whatever the situation is for you, you need to ask yourself, whether it's a job, a marriage, a business, a relationship, ask yourself, if this situation started today exactly as it is right now, will I still choose it? Let's say, for instance, a relationship that is toxic. If that relationship started today and became toxic right away, will you still stay in that place? If the answer is no, you need to leave right away. If this friendship or relationship started exactly as it is right now with this man hitting me or being toxic to me, would I still choose him on that first day? If this job started today with them being toxic or even bullying me on the very first day, would I still stay? If the answer is no, that tells you something. You don't get praised more because you suffered longer than necessary. There are times when leaving something is not you giving up, it is simply you doing the best thing for yourself. Always remember, there is no reward for suffering longer. younger. The red flags that you saw in the first week of you dating a man is the same red flag that will make you to leave him 20 years later. So the moment a situation no longer serves you, learn to leave right away. Don't spend more time that is necessary. You don't earn extra points because you suffered more. Number 9 is stop acting like you have forever. People assume that tomorrow is guaranteed. It's not. Even the next minute is not guaranteed. Opportunities will expire, markets will change, your parents will get older, your friends will change, things will move around. Don't always assume that you have time to do the things that you're procrastinating. You won't always get the chance to do or to redo things. This thing of procrastinating everything and thinking I'll do it later is actually one of the most dangerous things you can do to yourself. One of the worst mindsets you can have is that belief that everything needs to be aligned or perfect before you can do something. You can start now and improve later. Timing will never be perfect or perfectly aligned for you to say, oh, this is the right time for me to do this thing right now. So stop postponing your goals. There's this saying I heard a long time ago, which is the beautiful ones are not yet born. If you apply that to life, it means that eventually someone more beautiful, someone more determined, someone younger is going to come along and do that thing that you're procrastinating and do it even better than you. So stop assuming that there will always be this endless time and opportunity to repeat the things or to do the things that you want to do. A time is going to come when it's too late. Yes, there's such thing as something being too late. Eventually, some things will be too late for you to do them. Number 10 is invest, invest, invest. If I meet someone who turned 20 today, your greatest financial lesson would be your greatest financial advantage is not your salary, it's time. The money you invest in your 20s have decades to grow before you retire. Your 20s is the perfect time to learn how to invest. Invest in index fund, in your retirement, in businesses, in yourself. Yes, invest in yourself. And let's not forget, invest in your health and invest in people. Compound interest doesn't only apply to money, it applies to everything. Whenever we hear compound interest, we tend to think of investment and the money compounding. If you start in your 20s to invest in your health, you'll be the healthiest 60 or 70-year-old. If you start in your 20s to invest in skills, in your 40s, you'll be very knowledgeable and valuable. The earlier you start investing, the easier life will become for you. The person you become in your 40s and 50s is being made right now. So your 20s is not the time you necessarily have everything figured out, but it's the time that you at least start building something. In conclusion, your 20s are your construction years. Build properly. All right, guys, that's the end of this video. If you found this useful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, and do all the good things. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.